Hello and welcome to Chess Reviews 87. I was about to do a review of Chess magazine and also American Chess magazine, both of which have arrived in the post this week. But I left one of them at work, and I noticed that on the cover of American Chess magazine there is this lady. Now, with respect to her, she hasn't played very much in the last few years. So I'm beginning to wonder why she's on the cover. After all, the massive Isle of Man tournament, from which you can get two candidates' places, is in full hue and cry at the moment, and is just reaching its vital point. But it did give me the opportunity. I had it in my bedroom to read rather than review, to talk about Chess Queens, which is Jennifer's book. She wrote Chess Bitch about 15, 16, whatever, years ago, which I reviewed with some enthusiasm. And this is a much more balanced, shall we say, appraisal of the same aspects, but 20 years down the line, or 15 years down the line. Jennifer Shahade, a two-time US women's chess champion, spent her teens and 20s traveling the world playing chess. Tournaments have taken her from Istanbul to Moscow and introduced her to players from Zambia to China. All of that is completely true. Of course it's true. Ultra male-dominated sport, Jennifer found shocking sexism. Where have you heard that one before? As well as an incredible history of the top female players that has often been ignored. I don't think it's been ignored, and I don't think it's shocking. Through her own story and in-depth profiles of pioneers of the game, Jennifer invites us into the extremely competitive world of chess. Yes, she does. She shows us rivalry and camaraderie, the ecstatic highs and the excruciating losses, the glamour and the hard work. Well, there's no glamour in chess, but there is a lot of hard work. She describes the coach who told her that her period will affect her standard play and gives us thrilling blow-by-blow accounts. I don't want accounts of a period, of the matches that made history. Entwined with Jennifer's own story of those of top female players from around the world. We meet the famous Polgar sisters. We meet the glamorous jet setters who've traveled the world partying and escaped war-torn countries to become champions against the odds. That sort of seems a bit melodramatic to me. They pick up isolated incidents. Chess Queens is a fascinating journey into an exhilarating world of chess, an essential book for any aspiring chess queens of today. I would have said that it was of interest to many people. The price here is £20. The US price is $28.99, and the Canadian price is $34.99. So there we are. It's a pretty hefty paperback, hardback. I'm sure it will go into soft covers. There we are. It has, I just like to click it, 389 pages with an index and some notes, biographical notes, and some games, which is completely unnecessary. They're neither annotated nor with diagrams, and quite frankly, they could be found on any chess base. And it's not very likely that the casually interested, or those that like, as I do, the background to chess, would ever need to refer to them. But anyway, there we are. There's a glossary defining terms, like what does GM mean? Do you think you could get to page 338 without knowing GM meant Grand Master? My father would have liked that. It's a glossary. She thanks many people who helped with Chess Bitch, which was her earlier effort in this direction. I did a very detailed review of that and sent it to her. Understandably, it's not mentioned, that's all right. Worst to first. At the back, training stopped after 5 days because I wanted to go back to Brooklyn to figure out where to live. I was also throwing a farewell party for my friend Ben, who is moving to California. Ben is my former high school teammate who had recently given up chess for poker. This is fairly common, actually, people giving up chess for poker. And indeed, Jen has been seen at the poker table as well. Nothing wrong with that, as have many English players, like, say, Joe Gallagher or Byron Jacobs. I later fell in love with poker too, and its beautifully embedded math and psychology. Before poker, I didn't understand much about finances and negotiation, but after years of playing, I started to see how poker could be a prism to analyze important issues of class and gender. Well, I know nothing about that, but that would not be true of chess. But that isn't what she claims. So let's be accurate and fair to her. Angela's waverings between the male and the female and the eventual transformation has been painful, expensive, and ultimately redemptive. In my first email communication with Angela, she refers to herself as two-spirit. In Native American culture, a two-spirit is a revered person with special insights into both male and female psyches. This is obviously about becoming a man or changing your sex. She quotes Virginia Woolf in a book Orlando, which I attempted to read some years back. I got down to page 3. After the grueling 2 weeks of play, Irina ended with 3 wins, 1 loss, and 5 draws, finishing a tie for 9th place amongst dozens of heavyweight grandmasters. In other words, she tells you that it doesn't come easy. Here is Irina Krush, a name well known in US chess, and one of the strongest American women players of the last 10, 15 years. This is about playing for America at the 1986 Olympiad. That's the team tournament, the World Team Tournament, or Olympics if you prefer, hence the name Olympiad. Held in Dubai, Rachel, at the age of 27, abruptly decided to give up the game. I had a bag tournament and realized that I didn't apply myself to studying by then. I probably never would. Okay, well, this is Rachel Crotto, a name I knew way back 40 years ago. Rachel Crotto was the first adolescent star of American women's chess. What about Lisa Lane? I'm not sure if Lisa's still alive. I think it's unlikely. We're talking about the Queen's Gambit. How could they not be? The television series. I always wanted to call it a film, but it isn't. And I gather a second series is in the making, but I do not have any details. If you do, please let me know. Here we have some earlier contestants. As you can see, that looks rather dated, but it's nice that there's a bit of history in it, isn't it? I have to keep on going on and on about the Polgars and on about Vera Menchik. Here is Humpy. Conero Humpy. Actually, her name is Humpy Conero, but they've got it backwards, and we'll forgive them that. Yeah, she is the Indian lady who was the youngest British lady champion. She isn't British, but in those days, Commonwealth players could come and play in our tournaments. Now they can't. European divas. I'm not sure that they would want to be called divas. Alexandra Kosteniuk. You could actually send for, you can't now, this was many years ago, a photograph of her with a little post-it note on part of her privates, and you could, if you paid the money, they'd rip it off. I can't believe they did that. That's so crass. Antoinetta Stefanova, who I have met. We didn't play, but we met, and I was scoring in her game of snooker with Adam Ruff. Talks about the ups and downs of the international scene. And quotes Sarah Hurst, who I have met and had lunch with a couple of years ago. The mind of the man and the mind of the woman is the same, but this business of living makes women use their minds in ways that men don't even have to think about. And that is a quote from Patricia Hill Collins. I'm sorry, I don't know who Patricia Hill Collins is, but if she wants to put that as the chapter heading, I think that she should. This is the famous game which afterwards Judith took it upon herself to retire. It's only one game against Hu Ifan, but she was pretty scathing about Hungarian chess in general. And I was asked to comment, but I passed it across to Mark Weeks, not Mark Weeks, what's his name? I can't remember. Okay. This Week in Chess, Mark. And then he passed it to Malcolm Payne, who spoke on the 6 o'clock news. But really, throwing a fit is nothing to do with chess. They're brilliant players, both of them. It was only one game in a Swiss tournament. Women hold up half the sky, Chinese proverb. Yes, I think they do. And this is a chapter about the Chinese game. And here is the young lady herself, Jennifer, giving a simile. I used to like to give similes, but I can't really give them now. I'm too old. There she is, playing some kids. They seem more keen to be in the photograph than look at their games. The Queen's Gambit also showcased something I'd been trying to convey via my work with children and writing for many years. Chess is not just a game, it's a culture and a lifestyle. For the top players in the world, it's not just studying the Sicilian, it's grabbing a drink in Paris with a good friend you didn't even expect to see and talking chess and life for hours. I'm not sure that that sort of comment is particularly helpful. Bringing up grandmasters. Obviously, there is a chapter about the Hungarian prodigies, the Polgars. And here, completely irrelevantly, is Capablanca giving a simile. I can even get it into shot. Oh yes, there it is. Okay, this lady's still wearing hats. And there's some stuff about Kathy Forbes. With friendly greetings, Kathy was extremely well put together with neat red hair and small features. I marvelled at as she consumed cappuccino after cappuccino while explaining her views. Kathy quotes intellectuals in casual conversation, a habit that might seem pretentious if it weren't for her passion. That's interesting, isn't it? Just read that again. Kathy quotes intellectuals in casual conversation. At one time, I was friendly with Kathy and we corresponded a fair bit. Such writers as Germaine Greer, Naomi Wolf, and Oscar Wilde also came up as we chatted. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad they did. I did go to see Germaine Greer speak. There's a little picture of a little Polgar, aged 11. There we are. They were all of them coming up to Grandmaster strength. Be like Judith, it recommends. Maybe. Here is the Chess Life, the American magazine, with Mrs. Nazi on the cover. I don't know how to pronounce her name. She looks contemplative. And there's nothing wrong with that. And here is a very much more important person than any of those I've mentioned thus far, apart from the Bulgars. Maya Nitsa. I know when she fell from Grandmaster strength, had a difficult time. She's still alive. She would now be 60, I suppose. There's Nona Kaprinchishvili giving a simul. Nona is still very much with us. I'm playing chess as I speak. There she is. She was world champion in the 60s and 70s. Start of the 70s anyway. Mentioning some of the early Russian lady players after the war. Mentioning Sonia Graf. And here we have a parody of a Duchamp picture with Jennifer playing a man that hasn't got no clothes on. She seems far more interested in the photograph than the man's divested nature. Vera Menchik. Playing like a girl. A photograph by the late and very great Bill Hook. I've got Bill's book and Hooked on Chess, and it has some very, very fine photographs in it. He really loved photography. Jennifer with her brother. Jennifer with her dad, Michael. Talking about what encourages and discourages women. The rate of female chess participation, especially at adult level, is astonishingly low. In the United States, around 5% of competitive adult-rated players are women. Gosh, I'm so shocked. I am a woman who plays a man's game. A quote from the 9th Women's World Champion. Recently, I conducted a poll. I asked 100 of aspiring chess girls what they liked about the game. Most of them gave multiple answers: winning, meeting friends, the intrinsic beauty of checkmate. Some had practical reasons like scholarships, but one 12-year-old girl struck me as the most. Loved to whip obnoxious boys. How about that? And that's the opening paragraph of the introduction. If you had the 2005 book Chess Bitch, which I didn't, but I was lent it by John Upham and reviewed it in some detail, if you had it, don't let that put you off getting this. It's accurate and honest. I don't agree with all of it, but that's nothing to do with anything. Now, what inspired me to look at this was the arrival of American Chess Magazine. This is not a particularly well-known magazine, but it does contain a lot of information. I'm just unboxing it now. I'm just unboxing it again. I'm so well organised. Here we are. And here we are again. And I'll just run through what's in it. The World Cup 2023, which is the knockout tournament in the Isle of Man, isn't it? No, it isn't. No, it isn't the knockout tournament in the Isle of Man. It's the tournament which Magnus Carlsen won in it, but it was a knockout. I was right about that. How to prepare your openings, Magnificent 3, Exploring Chess and Crime. They're talking about Norman Whitaker. I've got a book about Norman. Artur Yusupov, Local and State Chess, I Love New York Chess by Laurel Aronian. Exclusive interview with Jennifer Shahade. Has left US chess. A prominent chess figure discusses the challenges and attacks she faced after igniting a Metu movement in chess. If you know what a Metu movement in chess is, please write and tell me, because I don't know. Various adverts for the books and back numbers of the magazine. It's a well worth getting in their own rights. There you are. Yes. Bobby Fischer and various other people who are not Bobby Fischer. An obituary of Jeremy Silman. Yes. A man who did an astronomical amount of good for chess. His writings are lauded and magnified. They aren't my favourites, but they are beautifully presented and explained. He's very, very good at explaining ideas. In a time to come, I think he will be held up as somebody that really showed a balanced approach to chess study, chess play, and the game in general. I like it. I like it. Josip Asic is the editor. An article about Magnus. Who'd never won the World Cup before, and he did. I'm going right to the back. An article about Yusupov, who's younger than me. He looks like Father Christmas. I think he went to Germany. I was there when he played Karpov in the candidates semi-finals, and he got to the board early because he knew it was the crunch point. I always say that, but nevertheless, that's true. I'm going through this very, very quickly. The US Junior Championships. I dare say there's very, very interesting games in that. Somebody playing the guitar. I Love Me. Oh, sorry. I Love New York. I think I Love Me would be a very good thing to put up. Wolf Anderson. In the endgame section. I'm told this endgame section is to die for. Best thing in the magazine, I'm told. Book reviews by Karsten Hansen. All but one he likes with full 5 stars. Nothing wrong with that. Time for pick holes. Get Rich Quick. Norman Whitaker. All sorts of photographs, including Magnus with a golf putter over his shoulder, probably hoping to become Bing Crosby. Some people I don't recognise, and some I do. Nothing wrong with that, really. Just a mixed bag. The most photogenic. Americans uneasily mix the local with the national and the national with the international. Some of which where they won't thank you for saying this thing. That's their choice, but it's sometimes a bit of a shame. You know, they say World War III has broken up, and then they say Mrs. Jones has had a baby at number 27. And I had that straight from an American. Here's Mr. Agard, with whom I've had some lively correspondence, though not recently. There's Jen with Chess Queen. With a little lady. That's her son. Her son, I'm sorry. I thought it was a girl because it was long hair. What a sexist remark by me. She'd have a theory about that. Well, I don't. I was just mistaken. There we are. We've had a gentle breeze through. If you want to subscribe to this, just Google it. I won't give you the contact. I won't give you the information because it may change and the subscriptions rates may vary. Thank you very much for your time. This has been Chess Reviews 87, I think. Yes, it has. 87. Thank you. Goodbye.